Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, you made it. You made it.
I was, I guess I was clicking the wrong link. I was waiting in the wrong Jamon and Lucian meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm glad you made it here. We'll go ahead and just start it off. Usually, just a quick recap here, the way that we like to do this. I'm just going to riff for a minute here, and then I'll go ahead and pass the time to you, and then the rest of the hour is all yours.
Okay.
Sound
Awesome.
good?
Well, thank you for having me, and hello, everybody.
Awesome. Okay, guys, awesome. We'll go ahead and start here. Welcome to the Independent American Gardener monthly meeting. This is the July meeting. We are going to be talking about water strategies today. And before we kind of deep dive into anything here really quick, I want to let you know something that I'm really excited about. Lucian, talking to us today, our guest speaker, is very versed in the permaculture world. He's been doing this for quite a while, a decade or what is it, a little bit more than a decade?
Almost there. Almost there, actually.
Almost. Okay, yeah, he's been doing some incredible things in southern Missouri. I've been to his farm, Sun and Bloom Farms down there. Very productive and constantly on the go. He's always doing some kind of class or developing some form of improvement on the land, posting different projects, his market garden, lots of things online. So I encourage you to go follow him and check that out. And we'll put a link in the comments where you can get to their website, or follow them on Facebook as well. As you know, being a TIAG member, every month we introduce a different concept, a different topic. And I just want to do a quick recap here of why we're doing this, because what we talk about online and you know, watching YouTube videos, you can DIY it, you can go through courses, you can do all the things, but that is all in cyberspace. And it really is incredible, the technology that we have today to be able to download so much information. You have a supercomputer in your pocket, right? We are very blessed in this day and age to be able to learn anything we want at any given moment. But that being said, a lot of times families that I work with are trapped in this analysis paralysis where they're not quite ready to deep dive into their own properties or get going on something that's really productive for them toward their vision and goal physically in the backyard or in the farm, because they're constantly finding more information. And sometimes too much information can be a bad thing. So that's why we only do this once a month. We try to give families applicable education, try to give families the steps to take and introduce them to the concepts that they may not have found before, so that they can be set off in the right path and break the mold in the conventional approach. As you know, there's a lot of problems with the conventional methods that we're dealing with today, and everything that we're doing on our properties, especially when it comes to permaculture, begins with water. The foundations of all permaculture design, before access, before structures, before flora or fauna or any other element of your property, it all starts with water. So I'm really excited today that we're going to be able to hear from Lucian and talk about some permaculture water strategies. I just recently saw a cool swale video that, or an introduction, I guess, little skit that he was doing where he created this bio region on the property, recycling gray water. Hopefully, maybe he'll talk about that today. There's going to be some good stuff. At the end of all of this, we're going to have a bit of a Q&A, and Lucian will be available for a while for that as well. And then we'll go ahead and make the recording available for the TIAG members inside of the platform. If you're not already a TIAG member in the official Independent American Gardener platform, then the link is in the comments now. You can go ahead and just select that and pick a plan. Usually the way that we do the TIAG platform is you pay once at $97 and you get it for life. And that's kind of our way of helping families get access to something residually every month. But it was my birthday last week. And so I went ahead and I cut the price in half. It's $47 right now to get in there for a lifetime plan. And that is kind of a limited opportunity that we're doing right now, just to help families get on the right foot as we launch this beta phase of the project. For those of you that are aware and have seen us doing all these things around the country, and you've seen we've been doing classes all the way from New York and Tennessee to Orange County, California, and back again. We've been doing this figure eight. We're finally done. We finally got to the point where we've completed all of our events, and we're to the point now where we're ready to head home back to Missouri in the heartland. I'm super excited for some collaboration that's about to come to the public view. You'll be able to hear some about that, and then be able to take part in some of those things that are going to have a big impact on your local communities. Because really what we're trying to achieve is self-sufficient communities. So everything that we're talking about, it doesn't matter if we don't physically do it, right? So that being said, I want to announce there's one thing that we decided to do where I'm a little bit nervous about. I'm going to be totally honest with you. We have a baby due coming on October 11th. We decided that it was time to have a girl. So after 5 boys, we got a baby girl on the way. Was very excited about that. But one of the things that's happening with this transition of us going home now that we're done with the year's tour is that we are actually introducing an encore. We had a lot of people that wanted us to their region and we couldn't make it. I've got to get the family home. I've got to get prepped for the baby, right? All of those responsibilities as a father. But as far as the events go and helping these communities, we're not going to leave you high and dry. So what we decided to do is we opened up 4 more weekends in August to round out the year with an encore, being able to reach those regions we were not able to get to before. So that being the case, there is only 4 weekends. It is very, very limited. We are looking for 4 hosts for those dates. And then we have kind of upped our game a little bit. We really want to go out with a bang, and we want to help families get everything that they need from the scale of a permaculture design all the way down to the calorie counts of the food that they're trying to consume and the filtration systems in their water supplies and whatever design we can apply for that particular project. That being said, we went ahead and created a package system for the attendees. So usually it was, as you know, $97, and you come and you take part in the event and you'd get the day workshop. What we're doing with the encore in August is we're breaking it down between 2 days, and you're able to get either segment in that area or both, and then upgrade your regular attendance. You can come for free just as a general admittance, or you can select a package. Every package comes with different perks, and each perk has a affiliated connection with me or another permaculture designer or professional in our network. Now, speaking of professionals in our network, I do want to turn the time over to Lucian. I don't want to take up too much time here. He is super, super cool guy. I really want you to pay close attention to the stuff that he has to tell you today. He's very well educated. He's been teaching PDCs for many years. He has been involved with different projects from California and all the way down here to Southern Missouri. And I'll let him give himself an official introduction, but just pay close attention here, because you're listening to somebody today that I feel honored to be able to get onto this webinar with you guys. And I'm super excited about the recording, because sometimes when we do this, you get a whole bunch of information and you want to just kind of go back through it and chop it up. So we'll make that available to you. Lucian will have this recording as well, and we'll just kind of do our best to make sure that these questions can get answered as far as water is concerned on the property. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you, Lucian, and you can take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the awesome introduction. I'll share a few more things about myself and my project. I want to keep it super simple, both for myself and for the listeners and whoever's watching this. I wanted to know if I have the opportunity to share my screen. Let me see if I can do it. Yes, I can. Okay, so I'm going to open my, let me see, that's on. Okay, I'm gonna open my sharing here. So my face is like moving to a different place. I hope you don't mind. So I wanted to, I mean, I've talked about this subject, and I've been teaching about this subject for a pretty good long time. You know, I started with understanding the theory and then starting to practice more. So like I became a little bit better. So there's quite a lot in this head here. So I want to make sure that I keep it simple today. Okay. So today I'm just going to share with you from the context of Sun and Bloom Farms, which is the farm that myself and my partner Anna Maria and the 2 mini managers, our kids, are running right now. We've been here just for 3 years. Our motto here is regenerative farming, intentional learning, community building, a village in the making, and we'll share more about how that looks like. And today I just wanted to keep it really simple with 5 simple steps for water in the family farmstead context. I'll bring it kind of together with a little video at one point. I'll just share kind of like who we are, what we do, how we got here, then bring that water context in, and then I'll finish it up with some questions. So before sharing more of who we are, I wanted to start with what our vision is for the future, what we're working on here. We're working to basically develop a permaculture farm school village. There's quite a lot of information on this. If somebody wants to take a still at one point and kind of like look at it, there's basically just 7 different areas where we're working from this space to grow farm goods, to make farm goods, to connect people with nature, to educate and train people, to bring people to community gatherings, to have people live here with us. I tried to get Jamon here. We don't know when he's going to join the village. We also provide we already do all these things, but we are working to get them to work even more effectively. We provide research and consulting, and then we help other people establish places like this that use this framework. It's a little bit, it's a lot to talk about, but I just wanted to bring this up. Okay, and then just wanted to tell you, how did we get to have this vision at this point right now? We're a regenerative organic farm and permaculture learning facility outside of Lebanon, Missouri. Not sure if you know where that is, but check it on the map. It's exactly in the middle of the United States. So for our community, we grow nutrient-dense vegetables and fruits, medicinal herbs, cut flowers, seedlings, and we raise free-range organic fed chickens for market eggs. Lately, people have been visiting our farm, so they want some of our meat birds too. So we do a little bit of that also. Basically, we also craft all kinds of apothecary goods with wild and cultivated plants. So we have 65 acres here, soon to be a little bit less because we're selling a piece of it. So there's quite a lot of wild things that we are also grabbing off the land, and of course with respect, leaving enough for other beings to forage and take advantage of what nature is providing. We also offer farm tours, hands-on workshops, all kinds of community events. Jamon was here, I think, in March. And we also offer deep dive training courses like a permaculture design course. And we also have apprentices on site. We just had one leave right now. We have one left and another one is coming in. We're usually looking to have about 5. Let me see, there's a chat. Hopefully it's not for me. Okay. A tiny town about an hour from Lebanon. Awesome. That's awesome, Christina. So you can kind of take a look at these pictures in that picture number 1 left corner. Here I am, super proud of the stuff that I'm growing in our market garden. Number 2 being like, what am I doing here with the chicken in the herb garden? Basically, I have like some videos and some stuff about that, how we integrate chickens with herbs. We don't put any medicine in the food, conventional, or do any shots. We also have goats and a pig and some sheep coming. So we're I don't know how we're going to do it, but we are, because that's how we've always done it. And you'll see, I'll show you a few things. Number 3 is our market garden. I keep my rows really tight and clean. 4 is our chickens that I call them forest raised chickens, not pasture, because chickens, their natural environment, they come from Southeast Asia, from the jungle. They like to be under the trees. They like that kind of like environment. And, you know, it's a little bit different than, you know, that super mechanical Joe Salatin stuff. Don't tell them I said so. You know, keeping them in the open field in those boxes. Also, I mean, there's a lot of things to say about the chickens. On number 5, you can see some people that were here at the permaculture course. We built a cob oven. We just fired it up the other day when it was already like 80 degrees outside. We're like almost dying of heat. Let's see, number 6 and 7, we do these different apothecary items. On 8, you can see my partner Anna Maria teaching adults about beekeeping. She's a natural beekeeping. Number 9, as you go to the side, all of those beautiful eggs that I get to wash, because that's what the state wants us to do, even though unwashed eggs are so much better. Number 10, again, some ideas about some of the packages that we put together. 11, my partner teaching kids. So we started this really cool thing here. Since we realized a lot of people like to homeschool just like us, we started farm school. And if you look close to that picture, if you zoom in, we're talking about the soil food web. I mean, look at the ages of those kids there. Those kids don't learn about that in general in school. So super excited to do things like that. Let's see. What is the I mean, there's a lot to say. I just want to go faster this so we can get to some good stuff. So here are the kids. You can see like kind of like how did we really get here, like to do this right now. I'm taking it kind of like backwards a little bit from the vision to who we are, and then now again to how we got here. Anna Maria went to school for poli-sci, and then one day she fell in love with urban farming. She actually designed a few of the first urban agri-hoods in Orange County. If anybody is from there or is interested to go visit, she's part of the original design and implementation team. In that number 2 picture, she's at a location in Mission Viejo. So Anna Maria went in that direction, but she lived a lot she visited a lot her grandparents in Greece, so she got super inspired to homestead, even though she grew up in Reno and then moved to Orange County. And then that's kind of how she reconnected with those Greek roots by, getting involved in the urban farming movement. And then myself, I went to school. I got a master's in sustainable development and one master's. I was in Hawaii and the surf was so good, I had to keep on going to school. I found reasons to stay there. And that's where I actually, I got a master's in sustainable development that talks all about, hey, how are we gonna figure out to do things on this planet so we can live here indefinitely, in a way that's not destructive and it works for everybody. And of course, all the solutions were top down. And then I get to go in weekends and do this thing called PermaBlitz, where this amazing dude and some other people around him were teaching a permaculture course. But in order for you to get the permaculture course, you would have to volunteer to all these different projects in Hawaiian communities in general, to basically make all of these, like you would see permaculture before you were taught what you're doing kind of thing. So I really fell in love with that thing, but I still had to go suit and tie. I worked for LA County. I worked for San Diego County, doing all kinds of different projects in energy efficiency, then waste reduction. I've always wanted to be in the realm of permaculture. It's just that people were not there yet. It's finally starting. There's some opportunities right now that I've been called in to help design some parks. But it's still slow, when it comes to kind of bigger public things. So these are some pictures here. I mean, there's more to say. Let's see. Okay, here's our first kind of place that we started. This was a 1 acre in San Clemente with ocean view. And we decided to fill that place up with people that wanted to learn. So you can see kind of right corner here, that was my hill with kind of little poster I made, Permaculture Design and Practice Certification course. Come and learn what's possible in the urban, suburban San Clemente thing. So, I mean, people, when I was telling them that I have 150 fruit trees in San Clemente, they were like, where the heck do you live? I was like, come on over, I'll show you. So, being in that area got 15 inches of rain, and water was pretty expensive. And we got all kind of water restrictions at one point. And my hill was just thriving with avocados, apples, peaches, pomegranates, all kinds of beautiful fruits, and of course, veggies. People were always like, oh, wow, how do you do this? It is so simple. Anyway, if you hear an accent, I'm also from Romania. I didn't share too much about that, but I can tell you that we used to do permaculture before I knew that there was a word for it. It's just how we did things. So anyway, these are some pictures from the center. I started to bring people and teach permaculture. I had the nonprofit About and for Sustainability, which I still run right now. with some like kind of like impact report. I did that impact report a little bit just to kind of like show my ex-boss, which was Evan Marks, who is a genius in the realm of permaculture and regenerative farming. I wanted to show him is like, I can do a center like you too, dude, without all the millions of dollars. And anybody can do it if you're passionate and you understand the power of ecological permaculture design. Like once you get it, and then you want to share it, you want to give it to more people because you understand that we're going to have a really beautiful world if we do that. So anyway, these are some pictures from there. We were also urban farming. We were doing microgreens and selling a lot of the produce too, and fruits. A lot of added value more, because in Orange County, we could ask $15 for a jar of grape jelly, from our own garden, because we could make only 10 anyway from the small little urban garden, I mean, in the beginning. But then so we tried all kinds of things. So then when we started to see, I mean, you can see there's a lot of people, just kind of like how Jamon is going around and is gathering all these people around these beautiful subjects. What we did, we went and we got a 40 acres farm in the high desert, because we were still young and not very wealthy. We couldn't get it like closer to that area in Orange County. So we went here and we continued, and we started to do a little bit more larger scale demonstrations of what's possible with permaculture. And we hosted amazing courses, and we grew food that we could not believe. And I was teaching college also. I'm one of the very few and first introduction to permaculture teachers. So I started even before Andrew Millison. Some of you you can tell him I said so, he knows that. I have a little bit of pride with that too. Andrew Millison, I mean, he's at Oregon State University, produced probably the most amazing videos out there in the realm of permaculture teaching. So I've been teaching Introduction to Permaculture in college settings, and I've created quite a lot of curriculum. There's a program right now that's launching in Orange County at Saddleback College. They're trying to get me back, but I like it in Missouri way better than being there in traffic. Don't tell them I said so. I told them it's for other reasons, spiritual reasons. Hopefully they don't watch this. But yeah, so I was teaching and I was farming. I could not believe what's possible. And it's like very, very simple, techniques, very simple approaches to growing food and being so passionate about it. I was also using, maybe the word is not using, but inviting a lot of my students to come experience and help in the process while learning, right? I mean, it's a fair exchange. So yeah, we did have a lot of free labor, if you want to call it so. Can you beep that part, Jamon, in the video? We've had a lot of willing hands. And, I would say that 80% of the people that came and took our permaculture design courses first at our house, I did probably like 5 or 6 of them, and then another 5 or 6 on the farm at Desert Bloom. 80%, okay, let's say 75% are working in this realm. They are either designers, which is actually a smaller number. Probably like 20% are designers doing it for the community, and the rest, about 55%, maybe 60%, are doing something related, which is like transform their homestead, or they are producing and growing and selling specific things. And then the rest are, either got super overwhelmed or they're still working to get there. And I'm still mentoring quite a lot of them. So I think we'll get there. We'll be more of us doing all kinds of cool stuff like this. So thank you for allowing me 15 minutes to present myself, since Jamon talked for 15 minutes about his projects. Thank you for that. If you're inspired about anything like this, let me just say, I came to this country with 25 cents in my pocket. I had a used suit and shoes with holes in them. I did get a lot of help here from people. I'm really good at asking and accepting help. I'm really, really good at that. And I think like in this realm, you have to be really good to do that. And, you know, I've been able to move the lives of a lot of people. So that's what I wanted to say, that it's possible if you want it, if you like it, if you're excited about it. And I get to eat amazing food besides with super cool people. So let me get into some very simple kind of like water resilience, because water has been huge here. Think about it. I was in Southern California, San Clemente, Orange County, Mediterranean dry, average of, 13 inches per year, with big rain events not passing, I don't know, 1 inch. I mean, if we got more than 1 inch in a long rain, we'd be like, ah! It's like the aliens are coming. So and then in the desert, we got even less than that. That was an average of 11 but the big events could be up to like 3 inches all at once in the desert. I mean, this was Anza Borrego, super dry. So we had to implement all kinds of different techniques. If you like to see more pictures of my work, instead of me showing you more right now, I'm just giving you kind of like a snippet. You can check out Sun and Bloom Farms, which used to be Desert Bloom Farms. Now it's Sun and Bloom Farms, and you can find all those pictures from behind. You can also find me, Lucian Toma, on Facebook and Instagram. Somebody stole Lucian Toma on Instagram, so I'm Yon, which is my first name. But anyway, that's a long story. So yeah, and now here in Missouri, where there's like 45 inches a year, with regular events being able to be 2 inches. We had 4 inches in an event, in a huge event here just not too long ago, which is huge. It's a huge rain event. And depending where you are at, I mean, I'm a permaculture designer and teacher. I found a good spot, right? I thought about this. But you really don't see the reality until like you sit there. So I'm really glad that I chose this spot, because I know a lot of people that bought places, in states or in environments that they were not familiar with. And then they were like, oh, how do I deal with this, right? There are a few things that I did not understand much, and I didn't know that I'm going to have to be ready and tackle with different permaculture systems when I moved here, but water was not one of it. Water, I understood where I'm coming and what's going to happen. So that's why I chose the spot here. I'm basically on top of a watershed where my house is at, and most of kind of my property, just so I'm not getting 45 inches of flood. And I do have some friends that paid pretty, like really good money for land around here. They basically followed me. I have a following in reality, not just on Instagram and Facebook. And they didn't consider everything. And their places are really beautiful, but they get flooded basically every spring. So now they have to spend, again, a lot of money. And since we're in a state where, the laws are not so, very like complicated and complex and protecting the buyer as much as in California, well, then, you have to take a permaculture course or hire Jamon to teach you how to choose your property wisely, or somebody like me, because it's definitely a big thing. So water has been huge. So I wanted to just give you my 5 steps on how to achieve water resilience. Maybe I didn't write a definition, but what I mean by water resilience, meaning that if there's any kind of interruption in the world, in your country, in your region, in your locality, in your space, if there's any interruption of like water services, for example, what would you do to drink water, to water your plants, and so on and so forth, right? So with water resilience, I mean, any kind of thing that could happen, I have an option. I can rebound from, drought. I can rebound from some pipes breaking. I can rebound from one of my whatever sources of water is not working. So I want to have as many different systems in place to make sure that I have water to drink, to wash my children because they get dirty a lot on the farm, to give it to my animals, to water my crops, and so on and so forth. So, and also what I also mean by water resilience, that I am not getting, flooded out of here, right? I am not like being underwater. I mean, I have some really incredible friends. We did some calculations. That's right, redundancies. I like that. That's a good work. That's a good work also, a good word in, when it comes to resilience. So I have some friends that we did some studies around the world to see, what kind of events can make like some of these places like really like go on fire or get flooded and all that. And he, he chose to move to Maine. I chose to move over here. We have like a little bit of differences, but that's important also to understand, okay? So let me move to really important, because I know people that are here, people that are going to watch this, they're either new to this or they have some experience, but I just wanted to reiterate a few things. So to really achieve water resilience, your first step is to learn how water works on different landscapes and what the solutions for achieving water resilience in a space are, okay? So what does that mean? And you would find how water works on different landscapes. Like, how does it work at the tropics on the landscape that's, or like, let's say in Florida in specific places. That's why Jamon is crazy. He's not crazy. The thing that he's doing is so amazing. The word is not crazy. It's amazing that he gets, secretly he's learning more than he's teaching people, because he gets to see all the solutions in all these different parts in the United States. And as I heard, he's going to Canada too. So anyway, it's interesting to understand what the solutions are for, keeping the water in, bringing the water in, using the water in that specific place. So how could you learn that? Well, I believe that you can learn by taking a PDC somehow, some way, whatever you want to take it, do a good research. I am a big proponent of hybrid, in-person, online. Online, you get the chance to reflect on what you're learning and you have time to look at things. And then in person, you get to go practice, and you get to have somebody like myself or Jamon or other teachers that can show you specific things and explain things like in that space for you to get. Highly recommend. I do intensive courses, and I do online courses, and I do hybrid courses. And I would like to invite people, and I hope we can live in that world. I give a lot of scholarships to people that really want to do this. Highly recommend doing kind of like a course that's taken a while, okay? But don't think you're going to become, a know-it-all overnight. But it's really beautiful to take a PDC and related water courses, like people that do courses that come from permaculture systems, from permaculture ideas, okay? And then attend lectures, workshops, volunteer to hands-on related activities, read books, watch videos, learn it all. So I believe that that's the first step in achieving water resilience. And I can speak more to that, okay? The second step is, now that you are in a specific space that where you want to achieve resilience, that's where you want to observe, interact, take note, and understand how the water moves on that landscape where you are planning to achieve water resilience. And it could be an exercise that you do at your place after you get a little bit of knowledge, right? I started with some of that knowledge, right? Like on that last picture I was showing you, like you would learn how an infiltration swell system looks like, and where would it be appropriate, and what are the differences in different type of soil types and different climates, okay? Because you can't just put a swell on, specific type of landscape. Other swells have different type of maintenance requirement depending on, the type of soil that you have in that area. So there's some like particularities to learn about, and you'd be like, aha, that's why my swale didn't work after I watched that video one time with Lucian and I tried it. And now it's all full because it doesn't work in my system. He's in Missouri, I'm in Utah, or something like that, Anyway, so back to this. Now you're getting into on the land that you're doing it, and that's the best thing to practice, right? I mean, you could do it in other places, but it's super important to practice. Understanding watershed, both the big watershed and the small space that you're designing, is really important. And you got to see how and what's happening with water. Okay, you want to understand where is it coming from and where is it going. Okay, right, where's it coming from? Is it from the tap, from the rain, runoff, snow, wells, springs, ponds, lakes, rivers? In permaculture, we talk about doing a sector analysis where we look at different environmental factors when we are on the landscape, and then we on the water, like Jamon said, that's the first thing we do. Well, we kind of look, where's the sun? Okay, because we want to know where the sun is at and how it goes low on the horizon and all that. But water is super important. I mean, you can't build a road in the wrong spot. You can't build a pond in the wrong spot. I've been called by so many people to fix their ponds. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'll have to move it. If you like, I can move it, but I can't like fix it. I got out of that business. Too much hassle. Anyway, right? That's the second step. Like, don't make decisions. Don't implement things. You have to understand how the water moves on the landscape. Where is it coming? I mean, it's coming from the faucet. It's going in the sink. Where is it going after that? Right? So that can, or, you know, it rains on the roof, it goes in the gutter. Where is it going after that? It rains on the landscape, it moves in this direction. Where is it going? What is it doing also? Okay. So that's going to help us kind of like make some decisions there. Okay. Now, in the third step, you would want to plan to apply as many solutions as possible. That's kind of like the word, I really like the word that he said, Jamon said here, redundancies, right? Like you have different things that are serving your water resilience. So plan to apply as many solutions as possible, starting with the easiest ones and taking one solution at a time, okay? So I'm showing you here in the picture, there's a few different solutions, like the source of the water is coming from different places, right? We got rain on the roof, for example. Let me see if I can put my my mouse. Can you see my mouse in the video? I'm not sure if you can see it. Can you see it? Can I get a thumbs up? Yeah. So you got rainwater on the roof. It goes into the tank, right? From the tank, you can have some kind of pump it up in the drip irrigation, unless you have enough volume and enough gravity to take it there. Of course, you can still keep your mains water supply from whatever local authority that bestowed the right to have water flowing for you to pay for it, and have it with all kinds of fluoride. You can beat these things out, right, Jamon? Then look, another one is gray water, right? This is like free. I'm saying it here, down here. Use what is free and easily available, right? You got the rainwater off the roof, but you also have like gray water that's coming from the sinks that you may be washing your hands, your showers, different than black water, the one you poop and pee in. Is that politically correct to say anymore? Anyway, you know what I'm saying. That one you can't like direct into the landscape, but the one that you're using to wash your hands, to wash your clothes. Here in Missouri, there's like no laws like I used to have in California, so I can take the one from my kitchen sink also, and from my dishwashers. Exactly. So you can definitely do that, but you do need to understand what the local laws are about that and how to do it. But again, I'm just making the point that you'd want to do as many things as possible. You know, the thing is that you can like some really, really simple solutions. I don't know if I have this. I really hope. Oh yeah, I think it is. I think it's towards the end. I'll share some more simple solutions, but the idea here is like those things that you learn about in your PDC or whatever, where you're learning, plan to do as many as possible, but start with the easy ones. What would be a super easy one? Thank you, Renee. A simple one, and as I'm going to show, when it rains on your property and it hits the soil, well, let's put some organic material in there. Let's put some compost. Let's put some mulch. That's a solution to keeping that water on the property, on the land itself. okay? Even with that, there's some things to think about, but that's the easiest thing to do. And then I'm saying here, soil, what's available? Soil. Well, soil is easy to work with. I mean, all you got to do is make some really simple rips or dig some holes, and the water is going to gather there. As long as you understand a little bit how the landscape work, you can make some of those. I know Jamon has been showing people how to build bioswales in some of the workshops, right? I mean, you get water there and it stays. That means it's going to soak that land. That means like, free water. Ta-da! Anyway, let's go to the fourth step here. Once you do some simple solutions, you take them one at a time, you want to start deciding on what water resilience system to spend your next big bucks on, okay? So here I'm showing the difference between tanks, cisterns, and barrels, and then putting the water in soil. I would probably add to the tanks, cisterns, and barrels pools and ponds also, because it's kind of like a storage above the ground, like you don't have the water kind of like seeping into the ground, unless your pond is designed to do that. On my property, it wouldn't work, like all the water would disappear pretty fast, because I have clay, silt, and gravel here that I have to spend all this money to bring, specific clay to like flash it. Anyway, that's another. But I wanted to invite the attention towards, spending money on a big tank in a space to have water available to wash your hands and do whatever you have to do, and spending money into moving soil to have water basically infiltrate and stay in the landscape to feed your plants. I didn't have this picture, but when I teach anything about water, and I can't believe I'm breaking my own rule, I give a short explanation of the hydrological cycle, which shows in how many places you can find water around us, right? In the clouds, in the air, in the plants, in the soil, in the rabbits that you're raising, right? In the poop that you just flushed, right? There's some conversations to be had. But this is huge. This is a huge thing. That's why I say you plan to have them all done. You start with the simplest ones. And then if you want to take it to the next level and you have the capacity, you have to make some really good decisions. It depends on your space, like your context is really important. Your space, right? Where are your neighbors? Are you dumping some runoff in their yard? You filling up your swale and then you're, like you're building an overflow. These are some kind of like some details to discuss about. I didn't want to go in that direction, but maybe this fifth step will kind of like help with like a little bit more details. So besides doing all these things, keep it simple and enjoy. So I'm showing here on the right, top corner here, that each percentage point of organic matter in the soil can absorb 0.6 of an inch of rain. That means the more organic material you put in your soil or above your soil, the more water you can absorb and have in your soil. I have a project that I designed and implemented with the help of my uncle, and I will be sharing at one point. We're actually, we filmed a documentary and I'm going to launch it in the next year, not this year, but next, because next year we know for sure that we're going to get the right footage, where we basically created all these springs that used to naturally be there in the past, and then they disappeared because of certain practices that people did. All the new people that came and cut everything, all the forest, and destroyed all the swales that my people did for 2,000 years. They knew how to do that with the landscape, and we lost it in one short generation of Netflix and stupid whatever people are watching these days. I watch some Netflix too, I'm not gonna lie, but not every day, all day. So we just basically used some of these techniques to start new springs where they used to be. So we use this technique where we put a lot of organic material, and we designed basically forests to drop as much organic material as possible naturally. We kind of like did some quote unquote calculations on how would it look like to do that. Then we did what's below here, which is subsoil ripping and swales. These are so simple, and I know Jamon has a lot of resources about them. Super simple things to do. Anybody, all you need is a pickaxe. really. And then you get to have muscles like Farmer Lucian over here, and Jamon too. I saw him. He's pretty ripped, right? And then you can integrate all these other beautiful systems in there. So I didn't want to go too much into certain like details like on our farm, but I can tell you that some of our simplest things that we did here is we connected with, well, first of all, we started to go and get all the free mulch from the Public Works Department. And just, I mean, that's how I stay in shape. I'm a father of two, I'm 40. I still want to dunk on my sons because I know they're going to challenge me one day. But if I'm moving a lot of mulch and compost on a regular, guess what? They're not going to get to the hoop. I love basketball. That's how I got to this country, so I still love it. Anyway, so I got a lot of mulch, and then I bought a lot of compost, and then I used a lot of the existing vegetation here to chop it off to make a lot of kind of like mulch from this property and compost. That's like a huge thing that I did. Then with a pickaxe, beautiful pickaxe, I started to do a lot of subsoil ripping, which some people discuss it in the context of keyline design, for example, or keyline farming, which we've done a little bit of that here. And then I've been building some swales. Pickaxe, baby, and a lot of apprentices that pay money to come and, you know, use the pickaxe. Some people don't even know how to use a pickaxe, which is, you know, it's amazing. So I know that we don't have time, but what I'm gonna do, this is a picture of our place that was taken, I think, like 20 days ago. This is just the market garden in the front. I wanted to show some details here, but it's okay. I mean, you can tell there's a difference in the landscape, right? Like where we had this drought. This is before the big rain we just had a few days ago. We had a crazy drought where things were starting to like dry out a lot. But my garden and of course the smart trees were doing really well. So I wanted to show a video, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it available for Jamon to share with you, to show you kind of like the process of you know, how we built a few things here. It's not available to the public because it's part of one of my courses. I'm just going to give you, actually, I'm going to give you a little bit of a snippet just so that you're excited to join Jamon's club, because I'm going to give it to him to have it, to be able to play it too, just kind of how I'm doing it in my courses too. Maybe he's going to make it more affordable. Okay. So let me stop this. I just want to show you, it's really quick. It's not a huge, I just want to show you some snippets of, yeah, no, it's 7:50. It's okay. I think we already did an hour, so maybe I won't do that. But I will make it available to Jamon to show it. I know I get excited and I can talk a lot. So just 2 more minutes. I just wanted to share the kind of things that we do here. We do have this apprenticeship. I'm, you know, I'm not ashamed to plug this in. This does not exist as much, that much out there. You know, to come and kind of, it's almost like going to college, but you live on a kind of like space that does this stuff and you do it with your hands. Don't get scared of a pickaxe, you know, because that's not the only thing that we do here. You get to learn about goats and chickens and growing a market garden, starting and managing an orchard and so on and so forth. So you can find it on my website at About for Sustainability. I'm probably not gonna teach all the formats moving forward for a while, unless Jamon moves next door and he's gonna teach it with me. And this is kind of like where you would find more information and a lot of pictures and a lot of free videos and such. Of course, there's a lot of paid videos too, but you know, I'm inviting people. I share a lot just to inspire people. So sunandbloomfarms.com, aboutandforsustainability.com, and then you can find me really easy on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. So hopefully you weren't looking for more details, but I can definitely answer all kinds of like details if you want to. We can do a water, a crazy water presentation if you like more. And I'm definitely excited to come back. I had my water presentation here that I do in my permaculture design course right now. I was like, oh, these people are gonna fall asleep if we do this. So hopefully this was pleasant enough. And yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think you actually covered a couple cool topics that I didn't expect you to jump into, and I'm happy that you did. One of the cool things about what you're doing over there is the hands-on piece. Those of you that are watching that have seen the events that we've done live, most of the feedback that we have received for the entire year we've been doing these on the road live events across the country, the feedback we get is there's this common denominator that the hands-on part is the one that makes the difference for everybody. It kind of rounds it all together, right? And like you said, there's the online piece, and then the hands-on piece do play a role independently. But it's super cool that you're able to do that on a hands-on approach on your property in a actual live and existing permaculture property, something that's active. It's not just imagery, right? Or even in startup phases, there's some application actually taking place currently, and that's invaluable, I think. So super glad that you brought all that up. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and get into questions. There was one question here from Christina. She says, can your gray water be bad because of the soap? Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. I would so hope so that people that talk about gray water would also make some life changes when it comes to the type of soaps that they would be using, because what would be bad for your skin would definitely be bad for the environment also and other living beings there. Okay, so that's an invitation to consider, to look into what are you putting on your skin. I know there's all kinds of information there that I used to actually share a lot, and then I did a little bit more research, and it weren't true that the skin absorbs 90% of the stuff. It's not completely true, but definitely you can have all kinds of problems. So yes, you would want to use biodegradable soaps. And that's another invitation from the permaculture idea and philosophy to tap into supporting the people that really care. It's not as easy as going to Walmart to get an eco-friendly soap. Let's look at some people that really put some thought into designing soaps. And I can give you some examples. I should get money every time I say this. Jamon, I'm going to share Gray Water Action. That's another place like Jamon that you can take a lot of those resources and put in yours and kind of guide people how to look at that. Graywateraction.org. These are people that I work with in Southern California. These people talk about, a lot about how the gray water works. And then I think from their group, one of the people started the company called Oasis, and it's Oasis detergent. That's for washing clothes. And then you have other companies like Dr. Browner that's also designing his, and that one you could find at Walmart actually, design his soaps with gray water in mind. Yeah, I have a really cool system here where I integrated gray water with an overflow from a tank, and it's so cool to calculate. The insane thing is when you do calculations to understand how much water you're just throwing away, where you could actually just go into your landscape. In our family here, for example, we got 2 kids, so we wash clothes all the time, and they're outside, they're dirty, and we finally are right now at the point to connect. It's not as simple as just putting a pipe. You have to get some airflow, and anyway, it's a little bit complicated, but simple in the same time. So we're ready to take that out. I mean, we could basically have 100 apple tree orchard here just with the gray water from how much water we're doing. So, and that's just the gray water from the washing machine. That's not even shower and all that. So, yeah.
And I'm gonna just add a piece to that too, is a lot of people are afraid of the gray water aspect because of the contamination. but don't be afraid of using the byproducts of how you're consuming things and how you're cleaning things. You know, all those you get, like you said in the beginning, going back to the source and reducing the toxins at the source that you control in your house, and choosing what is able to come in and come out of there is one thing. But once it comes out, trust that the diversity that you're bringing to your property and the ecology that you're developing in the soils and in all of these different vegetative species you're bringing in are going to play their role in purification. There's a whole other area that you can dive into in permaculture as far as water purification goes. It's very, very cool. Let's go ahead and if you have a question at this point, go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll just do some Q&A here for a minute, and then we'll go ahead and end it.
I'm just naturally excited if anybody wanted to know if I drank anything, if I did anything. No, nothing. I'm like, I get high on permaculture if you wanted to know. So.
Okay, well, I got a question for you. I didn't get to see your development that you did very, very closely, just your general, I think it was like a 10-second clip you did of that bioswale on the side of the greenhouse out front. Do you want to do just a quick explanation of your system right there for everybody?
Oh man, I guess I have to share my screen, huh? I'll share my screen really fast. Let's see. Oh, okay. But that's not by the greenhouse. Let me see. Maybe I'll just play. I don't even remember like having it on YouTube. Let me see. Let me share my, hold on 1 second. I think I can do this. So, oh, there we go. Hold on 1 second. I'm almost there. Let me share that. I think that would be like easier. Okay, and hopefully you can hear it also. All right, you ready?
We just finished a big part, 3/4 of the water systems demonstration part here at Sun and Bloom Farms. And we have a basin and berm here, or berm and basin. We're testing with some overflow. It's not very big. We wanted to make it a little bit bigger, but that's all we got so far. And this is being integrated with a rain tank, 275 gallons. We'll be able to fill that up with. This is going to go all the way to the swale there, to the berm and basin. And we also have it integrated with a gray water system that's coming from the sink, the outdoor sink. So really beautiful conservation system here. And next, we're going to talk a little bit about these outdoor showers. So lots of beautiful things happening here at Sun and Bloom Farms.
Anyway, so what I wanted to show you is like how much work there was before that. So I'll just like scroll through a little bit. Like with my students, first I had to tell them about the water and the watershed and how to do the, you know, like taught them everything about the tanks and the soil and kind of things that I showed you. Then I'm showing them how to calculate the runoff, right? Like this is the simple equation. I think you can find it really easy. It's somewhere in Jamon's documents. Then we're doing calculations to see how many things, you know, how big is it going to be? Then I take them outside and I show them, here's what we're going to do. Then I bring the tank anyway. Then we install the tank. Then I have them build bunny ups. That's a really cool, that video is going to be out pretty soon. Bunny up is a very simple way for you to find contour, which will help you to understand how the water is moving and where to put your swale and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, distances and elevation anyway. So here I am installing it. I'm showing every part of it. I'm showing like, hey, we did calculate originally that we can get all this water, but we got here, we got super tired. We built a smaller swell. Let's see how much water this one gets to understand basically how much water can we get from the roof and the gray water, but how much can we keep in that swale? And we were so disappointed because it was a small swale, so it had a little bit of water in it. So that gets you excited when you start understanding those things, how much water you can capture, like how much water falls or leaves your property or landscape, and then how much space is like, how much is the space allowing you. Like when we lived on that 1 acre in San Clemente, that was like a problem because it was small anyway. And then we do all these calculations, and then we use the bunny up. The bunny up helps us to understand where the water is going to go. We use the bunny up. Let's see. We use the bunny up to basically find the contour, so we can kind of like dig this swell on contour. And then, here I am after hours and hours of digging in rocks and clay. And then this is super cool to learn and understand how to use a bunny up. This is basically telling us if the berm was high enough, and how high was it, and it would tell us how much water would be able to capture in that swell. So it's a really simple tool. Anyway, and then we make a bet at the end. I like when students are betting against me, because I tell them that both overflows on both sides are at the same level and the water is going to get out in the same time. And they're like, no way, dude, that looks higher. Dude, we measured it with a bunny up. Are you crazy? It's going to happen. So I do a lot of bets with my students, and they always lose. Anyway, so that was that. But yeah, that will be available. I'll send it to you, Jamon. I still have to finish that, the edit of that. I have a lot of old videos from my other classes that you can probably find on my Facebook or Instagram with Sun and Bloom Farms, or about him for sustainability. When we dug, I think it was a 1/4 mile swale in the desert, and we did that just basically for water to basically grow all these plants and hold some water for animals in the wilderness. So we went in the national, was it national or state park? So we did a little bit of illegal stuff to improve the area, because it was.
I'll bleep that one out.
Yeah, you can bleep that one out. Yeah,
that's great.
Save the wild.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. Hey, you got one more question here, and then I think we need to call it. We're just over 7 o'clock here. Christina said, is there a way on Google Earth to see how your water would flow on your property, especially if your property is mostly flat and small?
Okay, so there's different, there are different things to look. If you can get your hand on a topography map, some websites have a more detailed topography maps than others. You can kind of get some general sense of, depending on how big your property is, you can get some general sense of the water, direction of the water. You just look at like, okay, this is the, contour topography line at 1,040, and the next one at 1,050, the water is going from 140 to 150. And you can also tell by the shapes inside of that topography, where do you have valleys and ridges. That's how we teach in permaculture, how to understand where the water is going. So you can kind of like figure out if it's looping on the outside, which, then, you see 1050 and 1040. You can see kind of like that means that the terrain is not only going, in that direction towards 1040, but it's also has a valley. So you would understand that that's where the water is going. So you can kind of like do that. But if you have a bunny app, then you don't even have to do that. I've seen Jamon using A-frame, A-frames also. What is that called? That's called, because I use that a lot too, but I do prefer the bunny app a little bit more. I know the A-frame, it gives you more accuracy in small, like really small increments. Sometimes it can drive you crazy if you're trying to do, 500 feet with that, but it could still work. So yeah, so there's 2 tools. I think because I was browsing your resources, I think I saw somewhere a resource on how to build an A-frame and kind of like figure out the contour. So on your space, if the topography map is like, large, and it's like, your space is small and you can't see a lot of changes, you see a general thing, you'd have to use these tools. You can use a laser level. I've had a laser level and it got stolen, and it was like something like $4,000. And then I'm like, I was like so upset. That's it. Nobody's gonna steal my bunny up. And I can buy 1,000 feet of, a clear vinyl piping, to use and keep it clean. So anyway, yeah, you could definitely tell us for an A-frame. Yeah, you can definitely do it. These two tools are super awesome, A-frame and bunny up, for short, to figure out where water is going.
Absolutely. All right, Lucia, I appreciate it, man. This has been super awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed all of this. There is a very strong chance we're going to have him back on here. So if this was valuable to you, you guys can just give him a shout out, reach out, go check out sunandbloomfarms.com. There's going to be some more dialogue here, I'm sure, in the future. And then I'll go ahead and wait for that video there, and we'll put that up in the TIAG space. Now, one thing I do want to mention before we kind of round it out and call it done here is, when something's been going on with us kind of on the background of things, as we've been trying to develop TIAG, and we've been running into some walls. So I want to just extend the invitation for you to share with your friends and your family what we're doing. It does really support us. It makes a really big difference in helping us be able to continue to do what we're doing. It makes a big difference. So all that being said, thank you so much, Lucian. We'll go ahead and publish this on there and call it a night. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you very much.